Julia's like, this is shocking. I can't believe you're doing that to poor John.
Well,
Shave my head.
Did he cut it late recently?
Do you know what? That was actually me. It's the amount of times I've had a wee bit and I've just left a wee mark and I said to Ollie, I went, is there anything on that? He went, no, fine. Mirror's too steamed up after the shower. That'll be fine, that's cool. Do you know when you're sitting there, you're going, just, what the hell's that? Ollie!
don't you taste that before?
You should.
You should, but you don't.
Aye, but you're numb with the razors. It's all, you know, that white finger with the razors.
Nothing.
Don't you have an electric?
He's probably got ready for his holiday.
He's proper ready.
It's not a
proper
holiday.
Last time I met you were going on holiday. You're always on holiday.
Mini retirement.
Mere air mails on Richard Branson. So, have we started?
Yeah, I've just got it going. So
That sounds good. So the podcast today we have Iain Stewart, that was the owner. Well, you're a businessman. You've been in business for a long time, and you also owned your Caledonia washrooms.
Yeah.
What other things have you done in your life?
What, before?
just a small
Before
question.
just a small question.
I was in the army, which brings a bit of resilience and helps you with giving yourself a chance. It gives you a lot of realisation that you're actually better at stuff than you think you may well be, which I think has been a great building block for everything else I've done. And then after that, I got into commercial sales and worked in in sales roles, and then went overseas with those roles and travelled the world a bit, and then ended up at a company called Ecolab, which is a big global hygiene business, and got so far in there. And then I thought, my life was changing, and I thought, I just can't work for other people anymore. I think I can do it myself now. I've learned enough. It took me a long time to get the confidence to have a go myself, but I just worked for different organisations and sales and marketing roles, and just found that sales was all about solving problems. As soon as you get that into your head, when you become a problem solver, you will make money. If you can solve people's problems, you will make money. And once you fix that out, you just have to figure out what the problems are.
There you go.
Well, that was easy.
Simple.
I've got lots of problems.
Finished.
That's it, finished. Is that it? Is it still working?
Aye.
So when you talk about you were in the army, how old were you when you went in the army?
7. I think I might. Had I just turned 18? Maybe just turned 18.
All right, so that's a wee bit later then. So what was because normally when people are going into the army, they're normally about 16, is that right? Or were you a late bloomer, or did you not know what you wanted to do?
No, you join the boys' service at 16. Most people join the army at 18. There is
Is
a
that
boy,
right?
yeah. 18
There's probably a rule around it.
You have to be in the boys' service. I don't know officially what it's called, but most people go in 18, 19, 20. A lot of people do go to college and then find they don't want to do it and do college or drop out.
So how old are you got to be to do national service then?
There's no such thing as national
There's
service.
No here though. But I'm talking, there is a big world out there.
Yeah,
18.
18.
France,
18.
Germany,
18.
Italy.
18.
18.
Well, there you go. I thought it was 16 you got there, eh?
Yeah.
If we went to war, it doesn't matter how old you were.
So I didn't decide. I couldn't decide if I wanted to go to university or whether I wanted to join the army. And I joined the TA to sort of give myself just for a bit of fun. And when I was 17, and I joined the parachute regiment TA and really, really enjoyed it. And that's made me decide why go to university? Why not join the army, get paid, travel the world, to get some life lessons and come out. And I did 4 years in the army to start with, and that gave me a really solid grounding, I think.
And what was it? So when you left the army, that's when you were eco, do you say?
No, when I left the army, I went into, I think my first sales job with Spiller's Pet Foods.
Right.
Which sounds a bit weird. I'm in industries which people think, oh, that's a bit boring, but the pet food industry is freaking huge. Can I swear?
Yeah, it's sarcastic.
Absolutely.
It's
We met Johnny.
It is massive. And I mean, there's companies locally I know of now that are doing very, very well. It's a multi-billion pound business, pet food. I mean, Mars bars, all their, I'm probably, saying something here that probably someone will eventually catch up with me and take me to court on. But, pedigree.
You hate to join the queue.
The Mars Corporation is a pet food company. They own veterinary practices. They own vet waste disposal businesses. They own their business. I suppose they make more money out of pets than they do out of fried Uncle Ben's rice and Mars bars, for sure.
Right.
Because everybody, if you think about post-COVID, you're right. post-COVID, how many people have got a dog? You know, people will scrimp and save for themselves, but they won't do it for their dog. They'll pay the vet bill, they'll pay the insurance, and they buy their dog's food all the time.
The thing is, there's a market in everything. There's money to be made in anything, any commodity you're buying. Dog food, general food, any
Toilet paper.
Toilet
I'm
paper, there
in
you go.
industries that if you can get yourself
Stationery.
if you can get yourself in an industry where every business has everyone needs it, or every business needs it. If you're in something that everyone needs, then you've got a fair to middling chance to be successful at it. It's great having a niche business, but sometimes it's great just having a business that's not everybody's. It might seem a bit boring and a bit not interesting. I think there's a lot to be said for being really good at something that's pretty mundane.
But you hit the nail on the head there. That's something people need. It's not a want, it's a need. They need toilet roll. They need the brush. They need all these things. They need the sanitary bins. They need,
Well, that's where I am now. Yeah, that's where I've ended up. But that came through my. I ended up working for. I worked for Bass Brewers, and that got me around the world. It got me into more senior roles, working in China, working in Czech Republic, working in the UK, which gave me a lot of broad brush experience in international stuff, which is fantastic. And then on the back of, I was in Egypt, I think, working with Guinness, I think, at the time, and the 9/11 thing happened, and I'd come back with in the processes of being part of a new venture in Egypt, which was going to keep me in Egypt for a while, and the company, I won't name the company, it's a huge energy drink company, but I won't name it, was about to launch into Egypt, but the 9/11 thing meant just, we're pulling a plug on it.
Yep.
And it's not happening. So then, at that time, back 2001, the brewing industry was shrinking, but the hygiene industry was growing, and security, because of 9/11, security became a big thing. Hygiene became a big thing because we had the SARS and the first of the SARS and the bird flu things. Now, we had been predicting something like COVID for 10, 15 years. There was, I think, the longest globally had gone between pandemics was something like 23 years, and by the time COVID hit, it had been for like 50 years or something like that. So it was twice as long as the previous break between pandemics. So when you're in the hygiene industry, you look at these trails, and Ecolab gave me that hygiene knowledge. Big global corporate, you do a lot of training, you get a lot of knowledge, a lot of learning, a lot of understanding. You meet some cracking people, and then I saw where all the gaps were in the sector. Right. So I was customers coming to me saying, "No, we have to deal with this company, and they are shocking." And what you find when you get to a certain size with big companies, and what made me want to do what I wanted to do, which get into the hygiene industry, was there was a lot of companies in the hygiene industry. Very few of them did the basic stuff really well. And honestly, your business, I know your business, you do the basic, you do all the stuff that's really easy to do. If you nail all that stuff, the other stuff all sorts itself out. It really does. And I saw the gap because I knew that I could deliver. All they want you to do is service their equipment every month. They don't want you to turn up on a Tuesday 1 month and then 3 months later on a Wednesday and a Friday. They want you to turn up. If you say you're on week 1 on a Tuesday, they want you to turn up week 1 on a Tuesday. And so you just do all the stuff. If you find that gap where people are doing a job really badly, there's an opportunity for you to set up business.
Yeah. That's what we done with the letting as well. We set the letting up was exactly the same because it was horrendous. The service was terrible from both sides for tenants and landlords, but especially for tenants. So that was the same. I seen a gap there that there's definitely a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And if you can achieve these kind of levels of basic service, then why would nobody or why would everybody not want to come and
go to the extreme?
Yeah.
Bezos saw that with Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
He saw a better way to do it. Do the basics well. Okay, now they make theirs, but they've grown a huge business because they saw a real opportunity. And for me, that was the bit. And then the perseverance is, you don't have the money for marketing when you set up a business. You just have to be going out, talking to customers, persuading them that you're going to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. And then there's a bit of honesty, integrity, how you have a relationship.
Yep.
And then as you grow the business and you get to go, then relationships become key. Then you really develop the business because it changes from that initial you want to do these things well, but you have to get trust. You have to get people to endorse you and say, you have to get a flagship customer that you can go to other customers and say, yeah, we deal with so-and-so.
Yeah.
That gives them confidence then to deal with you. And so that first customer, that first good customer, that flagship customer is always the trickiest one.
Right. How old were you when you started? Because there's a couple of questions in this one, but how old were you when you started the
washrooms, hygiene
washrooms?
business? I was 20 years ago, so I was 37.
37, right? So to some people that might sound
Actually,
older.
younger than that, 30. Maybe slightly younger than that. Anyway, 35. Maybe.
So you've got 35. So you've got years of experience or understand how yourself and how to talk to people. You've learned over the years. Now, for the podcast, there's people that are younger, there's people that are older. People listen, but for the younger generation that's possibly listening to this, especially through the mentorship they've been doing, they might say, oh, he's got himself sorted because he's 37. Being 37, you've obviously had your kid at the time. Were you at 37?
Yeah, I had 3 by then.
3, wow. So it would probably be, would you say it was harder to start a business at 37 than it would have been at 21 or 19? Yeah, you've got the knowledge here at this age, but you've also got mortgages, rent, 3 kids, car payments, insurances, holiday expectations, responsibilities to somebody at 19. The reason why I'm saying this is younger people say it's okay for you because you're here, but it's also a reality check. Well, that's fine in theory, but I've got more responsibilities, I've got more stresses at this age, and I'm willing to take the plunge to somebody at 19. So what would be harder, starting at 37 or starting at 19?
I think, for me personally, starting at 19, I wasn't mature enough, I think, at that time.
Right.
I didn't realise the importance of relationships. And I'm not talking, family relationships are important, and your wife has to, I mean, I've got an amazing wife, she was in the business, helped me get to where it is. I mean, she should be sitting here today, probably as part of this, to give you the other side of the coin, if you like. But the reality is that people want to do business with nice people. If you're 19 and you're actually a really nice person and you actually treat people the way that you want to be treated, you have empathy for their business, you have empathy for what they're going on within their personal life, you have empathy, their dog's died, you just take some care to find out about and show interest in them, their life, their business, you will be successful, whether you're 19 or 37. Mm-hmm. Because to me, all of my great customers are great people too. I'm still personally friends with a lot of my previous customers. They become friends.
I find that now there's a trend over the last few years of businesses that younger ones especially, but not always, coming into opening up a business, but they want everything yesterday. It's 100 miles an hour. There's no real strong foundations to what they're doing. You know, and they might be getting business coming in, but they're not sustaining it because they can't manage it at the back end because it's not set up properly, and they just push on until it crashes.
I could, the whole Instagram will create a business. Yeah. Yes, there is a business within that social media thing, but that's not the golden arrow or the golden bullet for business. It's not. That's a part of any business now, but it is not the thing. You cannot build a business based on one thing, and you will never get a relationship through Instagram. People will understand you and know you and like you, but it can go as fast as it came. When you have a relationship, you can have, because that relationship flips. When you're in a business and it's really tough and you're having a tough time, these are the guys you can go and have a chat to. Yep. And I'll use an example. I remember back in let me think what year it was. Anyway, we were really struggling. We had to shut we had 3 businesses at the time. We had to shut one down, and it was a real. We'd not long moved back to Scotland, so it must have been 2009, 2010. We were doing really well. One of our customers got a big chain of nurseries, got sold to another big nursery group who pretty much, I was in Amsterdam at a trade show. They sent me an email saying we'll no longer require your services, and we'll be finishing with you in 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, or something like that.
Wow,
so that's
a blow.
And I'm sitting in Amsterdam with pulling my hair out, going, "Oh my God, this is it. This is the end." Roll the music. This is the end, and what do we do? And I remember at the time sitting down with other business owners. In fact, we know one or two of them, so I
Right.
won't name them on this. It's not fair for them. They probably won't remember the fact that I was able to have a conversation with them about, shit, what do I do? How do I get through this?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to become, one thing about being a business owner, you have to have some sort of initiative, some sort of ability to get yourself, like solve whatever the
Problem solving, yeah.
problem solving ability is key, and you have to sit down and be able to look at it and say, right, what needs to be done? What needs to be done now? What do I need to get to? How do I get it there? And how do I build a map to get me to there? What do I have to do to stop everything collapsing tomorrow? What can I do next week? What can I do the week after?
Yep.
And how do I make sure that I have a business at the end of this? And if you've been dealing with people properly, you've had the empathy and you've had the conversations, you've built relationships. Whether it's a customer, then you can go to the customer and say, look, I'm not wanting to hide this. We're struggling a little bit, but nothing's going to change. But could you maybe pay me a little bit quicker this month? They will.
Yep.
You can go to another business who you've been with, and they could say, look, I need a new van, and I haven't. I know you've got a spare van. Would you lend it me, and I'll pay you for it at some point? Can you help me out with that? And you'll get that support and that help. Nobody will say no, unless they're an arsehole.
Yeah.
Nobody will say no, and most of them know what it's like because they've been there themselves. Most business owners are actually feel quite, I don't know, what's the word? I think
They're empathetic
Empathetic,
because
yeah.
when you're dealing with business to business, they're going through a journey in themselves.
Yeah.
But when you can collaborate, I think this is key, collaborating with people and, the know, like, trust. We use that analogy in some networking places we go to. But you've just hit the nail on the head yet again, because when you're building up that rapport, they'll have empathy, they'll understand, and they'll want to help you because they think you're a good guy.
Yeah.
And favours can be repaid back constantly. And it's like anything when you said you offloaded your problems, a lot of people, I feel sometimes people are a closed book in business, and like what we're trying to do in the podcast is actually open it up and be it sounds a bit cheesy, like a beacon like for people. Just say, look, come and air your dirty laundry here and we'll try and help you and navigate you around it, because we've got our experiences, and I still lean on him, for certain day-to-day tasks and even personal stuff. If you want to offload, it's so important that you can do that. And these people that have obviously steered you in the right direction, helped you, and they were a shoulder to lean on when you needed that.
Yeah.
But after navigating that as well, you've now got that experience, and you're going to want to help anybody that comes and speaks to you about it, if it's possible for you to do it.
Vickers knows that we've had other conversations outside of this room where for me now it's really important for me to give back. Mm-hmm. It's to me it's part of my thing now. I had a meeting with someone the other week who's new on his entrepreneurial journey because he's jumped into the family business. You're probably thinking exactly who I am, but that's fine. And we had a chat about it, and I told him how hard it is, and gave him a little bit of an encouragement to say, there's some really simple things. Try. Here's 2 or 3 things that you can do that will make a difference for you. And if he's gone away this week, and within a week, there's a difference. He's doing something more positive. He's having a positive. There's something he's done. You saw him this morning. He done something very different this week that he hasn't done in the past. And that to me is, it's a tiny thing, but it's great.
Yeah.
And
I think it goes back to, if you can't give it away, it owns you. So it's like money. If you can't give your money away, it owns you. If you gather so much knowledge and you can't share it with people, what's the use of having that knowledge? What's the use of helping people then if you've got that knowledge? And it's really important, because Iain and I have conversations with other people around it.
Yeah.
I think the lessons that you've learned along the way serves as inspiration, but it also serves as, you don't want people to make the same mistakes twice.
no,
So you don't. And there was a painter who always used to phone me up and say, you cannot die with that knowledge. You have to pass this on.
Yeah.
It's critical, and it's even now the small things that we know. And you see this, it's not the big things. It's always the little things. My son, we're doing the showroom up, and I said, right, you're coming up with me. I'm going to lay the carpet tiles, and simple things like that. Laying the carpet. We spoke about this at that venture we're doing.
Yeah.
Lay the carpet tiles, spray it, leave it, turn it, make sure the arrow's facing the right way. And he did quite a bit of it, maybe 4 or 5 square metres. But I said, do you know that you can now apply that to making money, Ollie? And he's like, 10 years old. But it's a whole thought, you just got taught how to do that. And it's the things that you learn, the simple things at school, learn working with your uncles, your brothers, your father, all these things, your mums. You need to be a thirsty knowledge. You want all that knowledge because it's powerful.
You know the story about the Vanderbilts. They own Grand Central Station and they made their money in the railways. And they did a study on the family because I think it's the grandson that's now the CEO. And out of all the children, he was the only one that started by laying the tracks. Then he became a conductor, then he became a train driver, then he managed the station, he worked his way up. But when he spoke to his siblings and his cousins and everybody, because that's generational wealth, they said they would have rather their parents taught them how to make the money than give them big trust funds to just live out the money. So it's never the big things. It's always small little things.
You take Dan Pena, the guy who lives up in Forfar, the big castle up there, the $1 billion man, they call him.
Who's the guy that we mentioned in our previous, before we started the conversation, who mentors the other guy that we talked about?
Oh, he's mentored quite a lot of guys, but it's like 30 grand to go up to it. But he's created more millionaires in Scotland than anybody. Well, I think UK, to be honest with you. But he's a hard crack. Like he's taking no crap. But you need to have an element of that in business as well. Where the hell was I going with that?
Who knows? That's good.
But he's on your doorstep because there was a few people that wanted to link in with him. So thanks, Ian. If you've got a link in to him, that'd be great because we're trying to knock his door.
Well, it's all about connections.
Well, that is, we've had conversations. This is when it just came up. So he's been on my peripheral vision for probably the last couple of months. I would like to get the gatekeeper so I could actually introduce him to somebody in a high position that wants to have a quick chat with him, or his gatekeeper. So if you know...
After the show, we'll not broadcast that one.
So, did I tell you, we don't edit these, we just get put out as they are.
Sometimes the high people in these organisations, and one of the things I did learn is it's not always about getting into the high people, it's sometimes the low people can be far more valuable. Yeah. And I say low people, I mean the people who are further down the tree have
the influencers.
Have massive influences.
They run it.
The gatekeeper will serve you no purpose. You need to find out who's the person that influences the gatekeeper. Those are the people that you want to build your connections with because they come with a certain amount of stability. Their opinions matter because it's thought through. So the influencers are a lot more important because they will influence. They'll go, you know what, I think you should have a chat with him because of X, Y, and Z. And because he understands that, he'll go, yeah, I'll have a chat with him. Mm-hmm. Gatekeepers are like in the old days when they had personal assistants. Their job is just to screen and just to put through who comes.
Yeah.
Or even better, when you've got a personal relationship, or you know someone with a personal relationship, so you bypass the gatekeeper and it's done over a coffee or a beer or a dinner, and it's brought into the conversation not as a, will you see my mate? I was having a chat and you explain it and you got more chance. But that's networking.
Yeah,
that's just what
I think it goes back to your earlier point, Ian, though, that it's all about building relationships and it's how you treat people and what you're prepared to invest in and what you get back out of it. Because some people are just blood-sucking vampires.
There are. But there's also another element, and this is more of not a stature thing, but somebody that's more confident. When you're in the local cafe or the pub, and somebody's maybe putting you down or putting someone you know down, you step up and you actually go, oh, whoa.
What's happening there? Yeah.
What's happening there? That's not right. I think we've missed some of that. I think there's some people who still do it. I'm the type of person who go, oh, Camden, you obviously don't know he or she. Just cut that out. You're getting the wrong story. That's not who they are. And I think you call that sponsor, let's say, not alcoholic.
It's your sponsor.
It's a sponsor. Somebody is there to back you up and to talk about when you're not in the room. That's so key. So somebody's starting out a business, if you can make the connections and build up that rapport and that relationship, they will be your ambassador, the sponsor for you when you're not in the room, which I think it's incredible.
We got a phone call, but just going back to a similar story, we got a phone call from a famous retailer that's somewhere on the A9, just north of Pitlochry.
Wait, the corner, right?
Okay, yeah. I think I know who it is.
You can get a bra wax jacket from that.
And
quite a big house.
And they phoned us up and said, look, we're having a terrible time with our cloakrooms. Would you guys come out and have a chat to us? And I'm like, yeah, no problem at all. Went up and my first question was, how did you find out about us? And the guy said, he said, well, we have some very, very, very influential friends, and we asked them, and they gave us your name. They said, you're the best guys in the business.
Brilliant.
And when that's going somehow to there,
That's a recommendation and a half. Huh?
yeah.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel amazing. It made me put the price up about 20%.
Just for the petrol alone.
But I think that's the one thing that, and I think you spoke about it earlier on, is your reputation, your name. It's the only thing you have. You lose that, you lose everything. You lose. If you get, you said if you say you're going to come there on the first Tuesday of every month, you need to stick to coming there on the first Tuesday of every month, and because that's what builds trust.
I think we're going to get round to a story where I get to the end of the journey and I tell you how the business I sold, how it was completely ruined by the guys who bought it. And I think we can move, I don't know.
So tell us, just take us through that journey.
There's literally, I've got a book open, but there's nothing on it. There's no questions, it's freestyle.
No notes taken.
I'll just close it.
So you build it, okay? So you spent 20 years building your business. What made you sell it?
So there's never the perfect time to sell a business. There's always, business owners will have opportunities to sell a business, but there's never a perfect time. So you have to make, I think you have to say, this is possibly the best, this is the right opportunity for me at the right time for me. Two things, opportunity and time. You need them both to come at the same time. So the opportunity for us was we had some, not health issues, but within our family. So we had parents that were...
Sure.
So we needed, one of us, so my wife and I, one of us needed to take a step back from the business. Getting someone else in who has the same understanding, enthusiasm,
and ethos and everything about you, yeah.
To bring someone in and train them up to do that is a massive task. At that very same time, we were approached by a big investment firm from Canada to say, look, we don't have any business. We knew they were buying businesses, and they came. In fact, we got approached by two businesses within the space of maybe 6 weeks. One was a Canadian venture capitalist, one was a French company. And the Canadian guys came in, they were much quicker to react, much quicker to come in. They'd already bought 4 or 5 companies. We knew who they'd bought. We knew some of the people that had sold to them. The process was very transparent. It was we have a formula, this is how it works, this is where we'll give you the valuation, we'll go through the process, we'll give you a massive spreadsheet for the due diligence, you guys just do it. And we were running a very tight ship. We had limited staff, we were doing a really...
You were efficient.
No, we were better than that. We were proficient. It's my favourite word ever. You take efficiency and
proactiveness, and you get to proficient.
Professional and more proactive, whichever one you prefer. But efficiency and professionalism, you get them together, and you're a very proficient business. And when they said, right, here we are, we concluded it within 6 weeks. It's the fastest sale they'd done.
Wow, right, okay.
We had everything they needed. All the stuff they asked for, we already had it, all there. Bang, there you go. You want the list of customers? There you go. Contracts? There you go. Vehicle registrations? There you go. VIN numbers? There you go. Insurance policy documents, contract, everything else. It's all there. We just had to dig it out, pull it together, upload it into the ether. Signed it off. Deal done. And that was done super quick. We were the most profitable washing business they'd bought at that time. And the other guys were just so slow. We'd actually done the deal and closed it before they'd even followed up with their second phone call, say, would you like to meet us?
Okay.
Deal was done. And so that part of that deal was they kept my wife in the business to run the operations side of it. So she was doing sorting out the drivers, and as we tried to merge it in, and I was in a consultancy role. So I was doing 2 days a week. In fact, I can tell you now because it's all done and they've been sold again, but they paid me to do 2 days a week. I probably did 6 days work in a year. I was bored shitless.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How did that feel? Like, it must have been nice to sell it, but you were still in it, I suppose. But was there no sense when everything went, you went, that was kind of my baby?
There was a bit of that. The bit that really struck home for me now was the anticlimax of it.
Yeah.
It was such...
all the hype, and then all of a sudden,
we invited a load of friends around, just to tell everyone, we've sold the business, and they were like, well, congratulations. What are you going to do now? Oh, don't know yet. We'll have a think about that. But these guys bought the business, and what they tried to change, I will say this for anyone who's listening that's got billions and they're buying other businesses, just because there might be someone on the podcast that's doing this. If you buy a business and it's making profit,
then leave it the way it is. Do not change it. Do not change it, because it works for a reason. But we come in and we think we know better. It's a typical trait of larger corporates. I promise you.
You're not even moving your mouth.
No. It's a typical trait. But isn't that like, because I'm a $1 billion business and I buy a small business, I think I know better. You don't. There's a reason why that small business makes that kind of money. So just leave it and take that as a best practice and roll it out to your other businesses. Reverse learning.
Yeah. Why would you take the business that the most profitable one you'd bought and try and
change it
to the one that wasn't making money? And all that, because Scotland geographically as well is a different, we call it sheep country. There's a lot of sheep country to get through to serve customers. Mm-hmm. We were super efficient when we had to do an installation, a delivery, a service call, a sales call sometimes. We managed to get that all tied into one service run, and we had software that made that all work for us, which was really great. Susan, my wife, she managed to get all that to happen. So, and as a key person in the office, they started changing it. First thing they did, we're not going to go from 4 weekly, we'll go to 6 weekly service, and we'll just tell the customers they're getting their service 6 weekly. Like the first thing they did. Customers.
1/3 of the customers are like, cheers, I'm on my way out.
It's like, yeah, right. We'll see if that happens. Ding. Anyway, contract cancelled. This company that spent a ton of money, not a lot of money on buying us, within the first 2 years in the UK lost £12 million. Wow.
Jeez, that's a number, eh?
And I got the chairman to come up to see. I said, look, let's call him Robert, because that's not his name. And
we've got video as well, by the way.
So that Twitch was not working.
Okay, so Robert comes up.
I say, let's go and have a game of golf and we'll have a chat, because there's a few things that aren't working and I think you should be aware of them. And I said, look, you're operationally, the team you've got in running this business operationally are letting you down badly. You're not delivering the service that your customers are paying for. You will hemorrhage this business. There's loads of crazy examples. But anyway, they'll hemorrhage this business. Get this fundamental thing. Don't worry about that. We'll get it done.
So what did Robert say to you when you have this frank conversation over the golf course?
I found a guy who used to work for another company. I can't remember the name of another company. Who's an expert at sorting out businesses and sorting out service type companies. He worked for me before. He'll come in.
So
and
Robert didn't take your advice or anything because I'm curious to know why. Because you've built it, you've scaled it, it was profitable.
Yeah.
Why was Robert deaf?
Because Robert was in the position where he was he was working for a capital investment company. His job was to scale up the business to be big enough for them to sell it to another capital investment company. And as long as they were delivering the measurements that these companies use, the way the KPIs that they use are nothing like the KPIs that we use.
So his would be based on profit or anything. Yours?
No, forget profit. It's like modern electronics and digital companies and internet companies that aren't making any profit.
So pre-profit. Okay, so pre-money valuations and all kinds of things.
The valuations based on total contract values. So all he wanted was a contract. Like a 3-year contract with this. So they say, right, we've got 500
million in contract value. That's what we worth. Yeah,
that's what they're buying. That's where the value's lying there.
That's where the value lies.
The value lies in the contract. But if you lose that contract,
exactly,
then what's
and
the
how
point?
do you lose contracts?
You lose contracts by not doing what
feeling. How you making people feel? As simple as that.
Yeah.
The thing is, you've got the commercial arm to any business, and then you've got the consumer arm to the business as well, where you're dealing with the consumer constantly. But when you've got, if that's the right way I'm saying it, the commercial side, how they operate is more numbers, it's percentages, it's losses. They look at that, where the other businesses, it's attached to the client. Yeah. Like it sounds like you're attached to the client because it's a service-based industry where they were buying you and what you were delivering, your team, the culture that you created.
They weren't really buying me. what they were buying was the team. I think that comes back to really getting a great team in the business and getting them all to pull in the same direction with the boat. You know, you get guys on a day-to-day basis. If you're in the service industry, the people who see the customers every day, every week, are not you. I'm lucky. I was lucky if I saw a customer twice a year, probably. Didn't mean to say they couldn't pick up the phone if there was a problem, or I would end up taking a call and giving them a call. But the guys on the ground would see the customers or speak to their gatekeepers or influencers on the ground. So they would be saying, everything okay? They say, oh, we've got a real problem with this. And the guys come back and say, oh, there's a problem with this particular unit. It's not working right. There's let's just say the soap's not dispensing properly. And as soon as 2 or 3 of them, you don't just ignore that. You say, hold on, there's a problem. You go back to the supplier. You say, we've had multiple issues with this. We need, what's going on? What's happening? We don't want any bullshit. Just tell us what's happening. And eventually they'd say, oh yeah, we had a manufacturing problem. We only just found it out. And we've had a few of them say who will deny point blank, no, there's nothing. Everything's perfect. Nothing's wrong. And you're going, you got a week to sort this out. I am giving you a week to come back to me with the problem and what you're doing to fix it. Because if you're not, now you're jeopardising my business.
Yeah.
Now's the time. I will be slinging your hook, my friend. We have a relationship, but you're not telling me the truth. I know that this can happen in lots of ways, but in business, you give people trust, build relationships, but there are people who will still say black is white. And you have to just
You have to call them out, though.
You do. You have to call them out, and you have to say, if this is impacting on my business and my lifestyle, my life, ultimately I could lose a customer or more than one customer because you're letting me down. And I slowly whittled all the shysters. If a company crossed me and now that I'm back in the industry, there's a company, someone's mentioned the other week, oh, anybody deal with so-and-so? And I on the WhatsApp group, because we have a WhatsApp group, everybody does. Right. And I said, dealt with them years ago, bunch of shysters, would never go near them with a barge pole. To which 2 or 3 other people said, oh my God, you're giving me the fear mentioned there. 2 or 3 people have backed that comment up.
Yeah.
And these guys have a reputation in the industry that nobody wants to deal with them. Mm. And so they can get business and they can get by because there are other people who will deal with them, but not me. Not the guys who really focus on the reputation won't deal with these guys. And customers the same. Sometimes you have customers who are shysters, for want of a better word. They won't pay you, they won't do this, they won't do that. You just have to turn around and say, look, what's happening here? Why are we not getting paid? What's going on? Do you know what? We're going to come in, take the kit out. It was lovely knowing you. If you ever want to deal with us in the future, you know what our terms and conditions are. We're happy to talk to you, but not on this basis. So I'll be sending the guys in at the end of the month, and we'll be taking the kit out.
This is really important though for anybody that's in business, that's starting the business. You should also be scoring your clients or your potential clients out of whatever metrics you want to use. They're obviously judging you on all the metrics that they see fit, but you've also got to equally do the same to them. Right. And I think sometimes it's a good conversation to have because it shifts it massively because then the client then becomes more defensive. Oh no, we pay our bills. I got that good feeling. I get a good feeling for you when I'm around you. Oh no, do you get a good feeling about us? Some people worry about asking certain questions like that, but it's the tonality that you create. It's the mannerisms around that, and sales is a conversation.
I think when you set a business up, the desperation to get sales, you'll take any customer, and I think that's a mistake that we all make. We've all made. You tell me you should be a business that's not made that mistake. Oh, yeah. Everybody has. That's probably the first mistake you learn from, and you go, I wish they're never off the phone. They're always wanting the prices dropped. They want everything for nothing. They take up so much of your time. You think, Jesus Christ, this is just killing me. So once you get through that, you've become less. What's the word I want to say?
Desperate.
Really? Less desperate, but you become less tolerant too. Yeah, with it all, you just say no. You get 3 strikes and you're out. And I with suppliers, with customers, I was very much a 3 strikes and you're out guy. Everyone can make a mistake. Everyone can make a second mistake. You do it 3 times, then fundamentally, what's the point? Once
is a mistake, twice is a pattern, because it's going to repeat itself. If your customer pays you light the first time, you can let it go. But if it happens a second and a third time, it's a pattern. It's just going to, and you allow it. That's the thing, is you allow it. And we're too scared to call them out and say, no, this is not the way. But you've got terms of business. Your clients have terms of business, and believe me, that they will be hard on whoever doesn't pay them. So why do we make those allowances?
And what's worse is when they're big names. I'm talking about either well-known companies or brands that aren't paying you, and they say, "Oh yeah, we have a 60-day policy."
I'm going to shout out to one of them, because I think you should, from a feeling from business owners, there's a big company, Glen Eagles, right? Said it, haha, right? But it was really interesting, the conversation I had with them about certain things. Now, obviously, that's maybe was it Diageo owned him at one point?
Yeah.
So they've changed hands, whatever, and they were asking for to make a price of work. So a price to work, and they went, "Oh no, this is Glen Eagles you're dealing with." They went, "I know that. What's the problem?" "Oh no, you'll have to look at your prices. This is Glen Eagles." I went, "I know you're Glen Eagles. That's why I'm pricing it the way I'm pricing it. So you should be able to afford that. You charge enough for it."
Well, it's not Premier Inn. It's not Premier Inn I'm pricing for.
It's a creme. It's a creme de la creme here, Squire. You should be able to pay for it. And you know what? It was a question centre as well. Oh, it was all the resin works and stuff like that. And they were scrimping and scraping. I'm like, "Are you joking?" I went, "Have a nice day, all right?" I'm like, "Go and sling your hook."
You need to know what a good customer is.
But just like what you're saying, sometimes the big ones are
the
not
worst
willing
ones.
to pay that. They don't see the value, but they want to create value for clients. I'm like, "Oh, you've got this all wrong here. This pattern. It's not. I'm not asking for anybody's autograph when I'm up here. I'm just here to do work. Well, walls are walls, floors are floors, ceilings are ceilings."
So looping back, so you sold it. What did you do after you sold it? After this big anticlimax?
I spent a year sitting on my thumbs playing golf and thinking about the world.
You
and
like that?
doing a little bit of, chit-chatting to people, travelling about. And one of the things, I went to one of the trade shows. We have a biennial trade show for the guys who were in Egypt with me last week. That became a big discussion point. Biennial trade show in Amsterdam, industry thing. It's a massive, more than anything about seeing new products and all the rest of it, it's a huge networking thing. More jobs get offered and done there than, it's unbelievable. People are having conversations and deals have been done, and it's a fantastic. If you're in the industry, you probably have all got one that you go to that's for your industry. But anyway, I was speaking to a guy I worked with at Ecolab years ago who was running a sales director for a German firm, and I told him, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I've just quit. I was working as a consultant for the guys that bought me, but I'm a bit fed up." He said, "You don't fancy being our export manager, do you?" I was like,
Why not?
"What do you mean?" He said, "Well, looking after all our overseas customers, because being a German company, it's a bit, the Germans aren't particularly good at it, and but this isn't in German, so it's fine." And I was like, "Well, how much are you paying?" He was like, "Well, that's the salary." I was like, it wasn't fantastic, but it was okay. And I thought, you know what, that might be. There was not a lot of pressure at that point. It was great. I got to travel, got met, and I became. It's not poacher gamekeeper. That's the wrong analogy. But I was working with companies that were exactly like my company, hygiene washroom companies. I was then working for the manufacturer, coming in with products, telling them the good products, what was good about the good products, the products that maybe weren't right for what they needed it to do. Giving them, recommending other companies that they needed a specific thing. So I was able to say, "Oh yeah, I know a company in Belgium, they'll do that for you." Give them a call. And these distributors just were like, breath of fresh air. We've actually got a guy who's looking after our business.
Who actually knows something.
Who actually knows what the hell he's talking about. And had the empathy, back to empathy, about our business and how we deal with our customers and the challenges we have. And to be honest, I loved it for about a year. 18 months, and then that German company, which was turnover 45 million euros, decent size, got bought by an even bigger company, and then I became employee 51,329 in a 12 billion euro
business
conglomerate.
What's your biggest learning? What was your biggest learning from that experience?
That once you have the skills, the people skills, you can work for yourself, you can work in a big corporate if you want to. If you really want to, your choice, you're lucky that you're in the choice. You also have the choice to leave it when you want to.
Yeah.
And that also...
What was the one sort of singular event that pushed you over the edge? It said, was it a combination of a lot of small little things? Or was it one big event that for you to say, you know what, this is not me anymore? Or was it the fact that you were always working for yourself?
I think when you're an entrepreneur, you get to make this. You see commercial opportunities.
And you make the decision.
And you make the decision. And usually you make the decision single-handedly, or you get one or two trusted people in the business and say, "Here's an opportunity, shall we do this? Let's talk it through. How much money will it take to do it? Can we develop that? Can we do it? Can we make it happen?" With the smaller German company, I was able to do that because I was 2 steps from the owner. So I could say, go to the sales director and say, look, here's an opportunity. Should we do this? He would fire up to the owner and say, look, here's an opportunity. Should we just crack on with this? Like making a very special trolley for the railways in Sydney. And it's like, yeah, let's have a go. Let's try. Let's make one. Let's see if we can get this to work. Let's have a go. With the when you're in the massive conglomerate, it is not that. It has to go to a committee. The committee then has to do this
market research, market validation.
Everything's a lot slower.
Massively slower, and then it is not. We're not talking about huge. One of the opportunities was tiny. This has been the craziest invention you'll ever heard. In the Middle East, squat toilets. So you don't sit on a toilet, you squat over the toilet. People who are cleaning toilets still use like a domestic toilet brush, which has a handle which is 10 inches long.
Right.
And I said, well, why has nobody done a toilet brush with a full 1 metre, 1.5 metre handle so they can just walk along, clean the toilets when they're stood up like you would with a mop or a brush, anything else?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done it. So I said, well, let's make one for the Middle East. And anyway, cut a long story short, I couldn't make it. So what I ended up doing was I ended up getting a part from another bit of kit and a toilet brush head from another bit of kit, and then shipping them to the distributor as two separate bits, as two separate parts. And then they were assembling them themselves over there, so we could go and sell them into the market.
Something so small.
Something as simple as making a toilet brush with a long handle for a squat toilet. But that's the entrepreneurial bit of me. That's the problem-solving bit of me that comes back to even sometimes something so simple. I mean, my greatest claim to fame that I have is that I made the first ever hand dryer for children. And to me, that's still one of my most proudest.
Is that Puff the
Magic Dryer?
Well, did you know go Dragon's Den? Did you know?
Yeah, I went to Dragon's Den with that, yeah. However, when I filled in the application for Dragon's Den, they said, look, we're just about there with the things. We've only got like 1 or 2 slots left. Can you come down? We think it's a great idea. The producers think it's fantastic. Can you come down and do the pre? You go down for a pre-interview. You meet the producers. You do your speech. You show them the product. They have a chin wag, and they go, come back and they go, yeah, we want you. You're going to be filming it in 2 weeks' time. Our filming starts. We're already filming now, actually, but we're a few slots late. So can you come down in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time? So me, Susan, a friend, we came down and did the whole Dragon's Den thing, and you go in and you show them and talk it through, and I was one of those. I think at the time something like 95% of the ones they showed got shown on the TV, and I was one of the 5% that didn't get shown. And I think it was because the Dragon's Den format fantastic for TV for people who don't have a clue. I mean, I don't know if you guys still watch it. Do you watch it? Or does
I see it on the pass and channel hopping.
It drives me nuts now because it's so much.
Because you see,
yeah. There's not even a lift. You walk in, the door, you press the button, the lights change, but you're actually on the same. The door just opens, the door shuts, and the door opens, but the lift doesn't go anywhere. It's just you getting through. It looks like it's a lift.
Destroyed it for us on it.
Do you know what? I've noticed that because years and years and years ago, when I was a lot younger, I went on the Popeye deal. It was Ramadad Jarvis Hotel, and it was Thames production. Met Ant Deck and Kate Thornton at the time, and I went over on the bus myself. So I'm like, I'm going on the bus myself. Even that was nerve-wracking for me. And going to try to find this place and going there, I'm like, I was in audition after audition after audition. There was no celebrity there until is it Dr. Fox that came on or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
He came on and he sat with the production, so it was all edited so well. And you go, lying bastards. And then it got the penny drop. You went, that's right. Do you think these celebrities are going to sit through 8, 9, 10 hours? Yes. I think what, but it was a learning curve. But great experience.
They film them all. They film all of them over like 4 days or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole Dragon's Den thing was a real eye opener for me. And I wouldn't get drawn into the arguments. I wouldn't get drawn into Deborah Meaden said, you should just take this to the big guy, PHS. You should just take it to PHS and get them to sell it. And that, why would I give it to PHS? They're not a particularly good company. They won't do, I would rather develop this and go into the nurseries. We're starting to make some inroads into nurseries and into, they're still in Glendock Garden Centre. They're out there. I mean, we never made it huge with it, but I still think that for me, it's still one of my. And now there's a bunch of copycats. People have made other products like as a robot and various other things, but none of them have captured the essence of what we were trying to do, which was take a white box, which under the age of 12 children who are very scared of white boxes and
noise,
because my daughter, who when she was 2 came screaming out of a Hilton, screaming because they're scared the living daylights out of it, and my wife came out and she said, "You're in the washroom business. Why can't you invent a hand dryer that doesn't scare the shit out of your daughter?"
Bad dad.
So there it starts.
There's the problem to be solved, and there it
Yeah.
starts. So I've just had patented a new invention, which is my latest sort of, because your mind's always thinking, and it's a white noise generator. I told you this, it's a white noise generator. So when you go to the toilet for a shit, and now it's all unisex toilets, people in offices don't want to hear someone
Taking a dump.
having a dump.
So now it's a beautiful white noise.
So now there's a option thing where we can create waves or bubbling brooks or birdsong, whatever, but the changes in pitch, changes in noise, which completely hides the noise, and it's activated when you open the door.
I've got 2 things here then for you can solve, right? Solve the noise on an aeroplane, because I'm frightened to flush it when I'm in the toilet in an airplane. I've already got one hand on the door.
That's a fact.
Oh, made it. I thought I was going to get sucked out.
Just don't do it. Just shut the lid first, you'll be fine. Shut the lid first, you'll be fine.
And here's another one, splashback in the toilets. So I've got a good friend who's going to be
I know, sometimes the conversation you just
No,
let it go.
it's toilet.
Toilets or urinals?
So
Hold on,
here,
tell
wait it now. So it's urinals, but wait it now. Where it is an establishment, a gentleman's club, my mate owns them, right? So all I could think is when guys are going for a pee, that's going all over their trousers and they get a splashback, and then this lady identifies as a lady. She's dancing on these guys and she's rubbing herself over pee. I mean, it's no hygienic, is it? So there's got to be something there.
Yes, there is.
So that's a problem.
There is a product out there that's a urinal mat, and the urinal mat has been designed really cleverly with the little spikes. It looks like grass. We did them for the Ryder Cup. We had them in the Ryder Cup in France, and we had green ones, and we put a little. We sat with a plastic golf tee, which we stuck into the urinal mat, and with a glued-on practice, like the orange practice golf balls with the holes in them, glued on. And we stuck them on. We put them in every urinal. So when you went only in the VIP areas, but when you went to the VIP areas, who's the big basketball player who plays golf?
Not Shaquille
They're all
O'Neal.
quite big,
Michael
to be
Jordan.
honest.
Michael Jordan.
That's
Michael
just
Jordan's
Michael
Michael Jordan's at the golf. Michael Jordan sends a tweet or something about it. Next thing, the Daily Record's writing a story about the whatever, and it's just something really simple. But so the mat has the grass brushes or whatever, and we had them in orange. You probably used to see them in the toilets, but the brushes point a certain way so the splash doesn't come back. The splash continues in.
There you go.
But there you go. There is a solution out there, but customers won't pay, or businesses, the big national guys, don't take the time to understand what the problem is and what the solution is to fix it. And that's where a great service. So when someone comes to you and says, we need to stop splashback in the urinal for our VIPs, you say, I have a solution. And then you generate another revenue stream for your business.
I'll get that referral on Monday.
So what does the future hold for you, Iain?
Well, I'm back in the industry. I was headhunted to go and help a washroom business that used to be rivals of ours. And rivals, I think another thing we haven't mentioned, but in business, you don't have to compete with everyone in the same industry.
That, yeah.
You can certainly work with an awful lot of them. And if there's an industry body or a network of guys all in the same industry, it's great to be sharing knowledge, sharing challenges, ganging up on suppliers when they're trying to do you over and not let them. So having made friends in the industry, I was approached by more than one washroom company to look at working with them. And this works for me. It's based in Scotland. I've gone to old, I suppose I can say it now, Fife Coastal Trust, an old customer. Guy, the head of operations there, phoned him up and said, I'm back in the industry. He went, oh, thank God for that. How soon can you set us up? And I'm paraphrasing, but that's the reaction I've been getting in the first sort of 6 weeks, 8 weeks I've been back in. So it's an early start for me, but the plan is to stay in and help this business grow to to where we didn't get to the potential where we could have done. You know, we had come back to the opportunity. The opportunity for us was to take a step out because we were young enough. We can do what we had to do and see what the next 3 years did for us, and then make another decision. And that worked. And look, it's sort of working out. But if that didn't work out, what I would do, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. I will acquire a business that has the potential to be a fantastic business, but has lost the appetite to deliver, to do the good stuff well, and go back to take a business. I think if any entrepreneur out there who's run a business and does it well, if Johnny could drop the painter and decorating tomorrow and become a washroom business guy, product knowledge wouldn't be there, but all the fundamentals would be there.
Skills,
massively transferable. I think there's a real opportunity. I think I read somewhere someone said, you know, if you were to make money, how would you make money now, having made your millions? Said I would go out there buying all these American guys. I'd buy the mama papa companies.
Yeah, mama pop stores
that are making money, have a customer base, are being run because the kids don't want to do it or whatever. Come in, take it over, get it working,
modernize it,
get some processes, procedures, not relying on one individual in the business, and then sell it on. Yeah. He said there's a real money to be made. So if you're 19 and you've got a wee bit of cash, go and find a business that needs someone with a bit of enthusiasm, and get some advice from Johnny Bissett.
You know what? I always just say you can spot it a mile away when youngsters or even adults, some people have got an aura about them. You certainly have an aura about you, and it's that attitude and that behaviour. I don't know, you can't really say what it is, but it's the feeling that being around these people, you go, they're just decent. I like being around them. You get good banter, you get a bit of cheek, you get a bit of this and a bit of that, but ultimately they've got that massive caringness. And you said it earlier on, I think you obviously been chatting to Vickers as well, but you want to give back more. That's obviously came from your trials and tribulations of your business, making money, losing a wee bit of money, family, health, but then you do that. You're here, it costs you nothing to give to someone, but we spoke earlier, donating time to people is something it's valuable, because we're talking about knowledge and sharing. This is what we should all be doing as business owners, as people, mums, dads, uncles, grands, friends. We should be passing that knowledge on. But I sometimes feel that we get too caught up in the whole money, and it's nice to make money, I get it, and it's nice to do something we enjoy, like business and entrepreneurship, but we also need to take a moment to, who can I help today? Who can I smile at today? Who can I just lift up just that little bit? Because everybody's going through certain things and certain points of the day or the week, the month, the years. I think we should be serving. We should be helping more people.
And I think I wrote a post on LinkedIn about it. The fact that one of the things working in the corporate world is you lose when you're a business owner, you spend more time with personal relationships. In the corporate world, you do it by email, you do it by LinkedIn or whatever. I let that slip a little bit. And one of the things I've really put some effort into since I've got back into the entrepreneurial environment is actually starting to rebuild those. Because they're solid relationships. You can pick it up so quickly. It takes a cup of coffee, slice of cake, or a proper.
Especially if you're buying.
But no, it doesn't take long for that relationship to go back and back to the questions. You know, is there anything I can? Is there any? What customer asked me today. Oh, you don't know a good tailor, do you? I said, no, but I know Johnny Bissett, and he'll know a good tailor.
Well, thanks so much. It's true. It's like we were talking about today. Some jobs that it's coming to my desk, I'm passing on to Mike. So the collaboration, I think some people are scared of collaborating. Oh, they're going to steal my clients. Not if you're friends.
But that's the thing that's short-lived as well. You know, if the trust's gone there, if you're doing stuff you shouldn't be doing. Whereas if you're helping, then that trust's there, and you can definitely build.
So a message to send to people now then for this podcast, obviously it's in the title, edutainment, so a bit of education, a bit of a laugh as well at the same time. Somebody, been at school, left school, went to college, dropped out of university, or went travelling, they've came back and they went, there's something in me, I want to start something, I want to do something. What kind of advice would you give to them if they're listening just now?
I could say the really old cliche stuff, find something you enjoy, find something you love. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't necessarily look for something you enjoy. I would get a job and keep every day look at where the weakness is. What's the thing that you could do better? What's the thing that you can improve on to make this business better? And if you can find that missing link, if you can find that the bit that will differentiate you as a business that cares. And I mean, I actually went to the whole point of, I think my whole website strategy when I eventually got going with the business and got to the stage where we started employing and marketing people and everything, you know, we went with the we care, I think was one of our straplines. It's we care about service, we care about the environment, the things that are important. If you care about that stuff, and if you tell your customers you care about that stuff, you've got a fighting chance.
And you show them that.
Yeah, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be. You will not love the business, but you will love solving problems for people and being appreciated. Then you've got a business, because when customers appreciate what you do for them, they will be the first to tell other people how good you are, and then your business will take off, and then you're on to something. And that's how all the great businesses, I think. I was going to mention a book there. I've forgotten the title of it. Built to Last. There's a book called Built to Last, which looks at the best business and the second best business in several fields, and it's a great thing of what made the great businesses great, and what made the guys who didn't make it, weren't the best, why they were second best, and it's really clever. Some of the things they've taken out from looking.
What does make Michael Vickers? What does make a good business?
Everything he's just said.
You're too busy in the camera, son.
Easy, I know, busy man. But it's true. Like, you've said a lot of good stuff there. Well done, Iain.
I don't think it's certainly not rocket science, and it's certainly not difficult. Sometimes it takes certain people longer, and I think the great thing now is there's so much learning you can do. There's so many ways. Before there wasn't that many business mentors, and there wasn't mentorships all available. And as much as I tried to get mentors, and I went to British Gateway or Scotch Gateway or whatever it was, Scotch Enterprise, and said, you know, I'd really love a mentor or whatever, and they go, oh yeah, well we'll look at this program, we can find you so and so who was a paint, you know, not paint and decorator, but he ran the marketing department for British American Tobacco. I'm thinking, that's not who I need as a mentor. I remember the first time I had a mentor, you know, his first words to me, well, make sure you get your brand sorted out and get that trademarked. That was his first advice to me. What the fucking waste of time that was.
Do you know what? There's so many different ways that people see business, and I think, like, I'm going to pick on you. For the first time, I'm not going to run out of time here, or is time just this thing? Is that just a made up thing? There you go, philosophy. When I first met you, Vickers, I'm like, I am not sharing my bank details with you. I'm not going to give you. This is my thought in my head. I'm like, I'm not giving you all this information. I don't even fucking know you. You've never swore once. And I need to build up that rapport when you swear. I think you and Caroline came down to my house as well.
We came. Was it New Year's Eve? New Year's Eve.
Just to, you know, then Brad. Well, I never met Brad, but Summer babysat and stuff. And Caroline's helped with the kids. But it's like, I think it's just you were great because, and you still are. Just like no,
how reassuring.
But no, when I started business, I know a lot now, but I still have got a lot to learn. But you just became as that hope and that passion when we were turning over a small amount of money. I remember those days. I remember when you sat in a room and it was like a crime scene, all the paper up and tell me your ambitions, all this kind of thing. And then we hosted the guys, and Vicky said to me, "You're not invited, and you're not going to enjoy what comes out of this." It's 9 times 10. It happens all the time. And I was like, I came back, 2 people had ran out, and I was like, "What's going on?" He says, "Don't worry, that's the cancerous ones. We'll just do it. We clear out, but it just takes time. Don't worry about it." I'm like, what the hell? And then look where we are now. Yeah. And I say we because you're part of it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Where we are, the years, how many years is that?
6.
6 years. 6 bloody years.
Do you remember the story? So when Johnny and I first started to work together, there was a point where we had an amount that we wanted in the bank account. Okay, we never wanted to dip about, and it was around about this time, right in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And we dipped below that. And we sat and we said, fuck it, they just pack it in. It's just not worth it. And now, fast forward a couple of years, and we've got probably 10 times that money stashed away. So it's, again, everybody wants, It's an overnight success story, 6 years in the making.
Aye. I think the one.
Can I borrow a fiver?
I do, but it's the same things that you go through, the hardships. The last quarter that we've mentioned in the podcast, the last quarter was probably one of our
hardest
worst.
quarter. Yeah, it was our hardest
one of our
quarter
worst ever. And you were experiencing some.
There's loads of people.
And then when you just hold on and you go, and I think when I was getting home, I had a hard conversation with my wife, Lisa, and I'm like, fuck. I was like, and then when you share it with somebody, and she's great support and all these kind of things, but there's sometimes I'm like, I need to share it with somebody else now because I'm worried that I'm making you panic now. Yeah. And I thought, but there was a night, and I'm not religious in any way, but there was something happened that night to me. I was like, whatever it was like, don't you fucking give up. Don't you give up. And I went out there and I, just went for it. And, things happen. I mean, I was sharing it with some people. They boost me. So we can all be vulnerable. And I think it's a brilliant thing to be vulnerable sometimes because you get a chance to dig deep and realise why you're doing it all. You're doing what you're doing just now. We're all doing what we're doing to try and make money, support our family, pay for the roof over our head and have nice experiences. But if money all went tomorrow, I mean, you said this a while ago, you're like, whatever. But you're the most chill little boy I know. Like, you are like...
It's just everybody will be all right.
That's what you said. You said if all the businesses closed down, Michael said everybody's going to be okay because they've got transferable skills. Because what's the worst that happened? What do we always say? Did somebody die? No, we're okay.
We're okay.
And on that positive note...
On that positive note...
We've got a button.
We've got a button. It's the right one.
This is like you've lived this life, actually.
This is your world.
Shape it.
Or someone else will. Well done.
I feel like a tear shit.